Ladies and gentlemen, it is your best pal, Jason for Realist News YouTube. And again, when I saw the snowflakes, the millennial liberal crying, hugging groups, feel good groups, when they saw that Donald Trump won that night and the tears, oh my God. And then the idiot lady that was trying to, they were protesting the inauguration. No! Like her whole family just got hit by a comet or something. Asteroid. And I said, when I see that, or for example, you may have seen Trump's speech, 2 nights ago, according to the time you'll see this video. He came out, talked about all the things, that he's done so far, what he plans on doing. Most of the time, Congress was left and right were cheering, yeah. And then he got to the point about the jobs and all these companies where I'm bringing, talk to. They're going to bring billions and billions of dollars and tens of thousands of jobs back to this country. And you just look at that filthy witch, Nancy Pelosi, just sitting there, doing faces like this. Like something has happened because of this, that is everything in her personal life's agenda is now backwards and wrong, and I can't contain myself, and I'm just making faces, and you idiotic woman. You pale, filthy woman. You can't even clap for that part. We're bringing jobs back to America, and she just sat there just like in disgust. But when I saw the facial expression, it added a few years to my life. I don't know that it will add as many years as the night of the election. When I saw those people, the snowflakes, cuddle groups and all that, oh my God. That added about 10 years to my life. So each and every time I see one of these leftist, globalists, etc. people in panic mode, oh God, what are we going to do? I love it. It gives me energy. It's like sucking the life force out of this filth and adding it to myself, extra life. Like playing a game. Oh, I just got a one up. I've just got 3 more. I've got 4 free lives, right? Or in this case, extra years of my life. So the other thing that just happened recently, which I think I shared with you, was Marie Le Pen destroying Angela Merkel in front of Parliament. And I'm trying to think, was it this guy or was it the other dude, Mario Draghi, that was next to her? And her face was similar to Nancy Pelosi. Although she wasn't doing the whole, tongue and mouth, and like she got some, she got a piece of a baby's spine stuck in her, teeth. But squirming nonetheless. Very unhappy facial expression. And I got about 2.5 years of life on that one. I'd like to introduce you now to Mr. Jean-Claude Juncker, the European Union, the unelected officials that think they know what's best for us. And do you remember when they told us, Brexit, whatever, finally, market crash of epic proportion if Brexit happens? Brexit happened. First of all, Brexit's not going to happen. There's no way it happened. Trump will not be elected. There's no way he's elected. The no vote will not work in Italy referendum. It worked. And guess what else is going to work? Marie Le Pen is going to be your next president in France, and she has already said we will absolutely be getting out of that EU. Italy, as I mentioned the other day, probably won't have a choice in the matter because they're finished financially, so they're going to have to leave. So this man, as you're about to see, is in panic mode. He's trying to contain it, trying to hold it back. He starts cussing a little bit, starts swearing a little bit in the middle of a parliament speech because he doesn't know what to do. Basically, we're backed in the corner. What do you want me to do? What can we do? The EU's leaving. And this discussion was about Brexit, too, and the effects of Brexit. And he said there's 4 or 5 plans. One of them is the only one I want to push forward. It's really the one I want. But, he talked about the EU citizens want to have a say in this, and if we don't listen and this and that. But you look at his face. Let me just give you a screenshot of his face real quick before I do a little subtitles for you, because the subtitles are there. I'm going to play it, even though you're not going to hear it. It's in another language anyways. And I'm going to tell you what he's saying. And then I want to get to an article that I'd like to read to you about this. This is the fall, my friends, of the globalist empire. They are trying very hard, by the way, tooth and nail, to stop their own destruction, but I think it's too late. Having said that, speaking of which, Nancy Pelosi, or Mr. Sessions, you should stand down. You should resign immediately because you met the Russians. You met the Russians. He was a senator, and he can meet all kinds of different people. But as he said, he didn't talk about any kind of policy and whatnot. He didn't do anything illegal. And he's answered the question that was asked of him by his, Congress. They're trying tooth and nail to undo this. In all fairness, what would you do if you're them and you've been sitting back like this the whole time? Man, life is good. We have our own healthcare system, completely different from Obamacare. I mean, I tell these idiot people what they want to hear, and then I get in office and I do the opposite. I do whatever fills my back pocket with money. Life is good. This is too easy. These people are so stupid. They vote for me. Oh my goodness, this is too easy. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes in. That wasn't that wasn't supposed to happen. What just happened, guys? Well, that's all right. We'll get rid of him. He's not going to get there. We'll have some of the electoral college flip flop. Okay, only 2 did. Now what? We'll have the Congress stop him on January 7th. And they'll object at the point where they either say yeah or nay to him being president. And if an objection stands, then they have to vote, and they might pick someone else to be president. We'll get him there. I'm sorry, do you have a senator's signature? No, I do not. Then shut your fat mouth and sit down. Next. Objection. Do you have a senator's signature? Well, we have one from the House, and I have not yet been able to. Then sit down. It is over, says Joe Biden. That added about 3 years to my life when I saw that one. That was fantastic. So the EU, I said this a long time ago. We knew this was coming. The EU's done. The second Brexit happens, the first country that goes will start a domino effect. Again, who's in trouble now? Italy's in trouble. Greece is dying to get out of there. France, Le Pen, we will absolutely be out of there should I be elected. Now I hear the other day, Scotland, the Scottish, we're going to have another referendum again about the whole EU thing and the euro. Well, I thought you already had one. I thought it was case closed. Everything was good. You were going to leave it. We want a second one now. Really? Oh, because you say, it's actually possible. Other countries, other people are doing this. There's the Donald Trump of France. There's the Donald Trump of, England. There's the Donald Trump of such and such. That's how they're referring to these new politicians coming on scene, the right party, whatever. The new Donald Trump. And that's all anyone needs to know. Oh, that's my choice. So I'm just going to play this back and kind of read it to you. It's only about 45 seconds long. So we are putting forward on this occasion a number of different scenarios. I'm sure you will understand that amongst the scenarios put forward, there's one I would like to see a lot more than the other 4. But if we were to simply to put that forward, then there wouldn't be, in other words, would not be any discussion, and voices would be raised against us saying that we have skyfalled the debate and we had not listened to the voices of our citizens. Shit, he says. Shit. Twice. I would put this forward in stronger words if it wasn't in the European Parliament. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? He said, Let me get back to... Let me just look at that. Let's just play that clip for you guys. Just in case you want to see one of the elitist minions finding out they're losing control that they thought they would never lose control of, their unelected selves making billions of dollars every year off the backs of all these countries just to be in the bloc. It's kind of like an HOA fee for countries, but massively expensive, and you get nothing for it except debt and austerity measures. Just ask Greece. Let me just switch over. You guys, just take a little peek at this guy here. Shit. I put this forward in stronger words if it wasn't for the European Parliament. What do you want us to do? He's sad. He's a sad, broke man. He's a sad, broke man. moment Juncker loses it with whining MEPs over EU plans. This is the extraordinary moment an exacerbated Jean-Claude Juncker finally snapped at MEPs whining about his landmark consultation on the future of the EU, barking, "Shit, what do you want me to do?" The Brussels chief lost it with representatives of the EU Parliament after they attacked his plans to consult ordinary European voters on which path Eurocrats should take to save the bloc from collapsing, which in and of itself is ridiculous. His number one plan: let's consult ordinary European voters for what they want to do. In other words, let us rig the votes to say that they want us to stay in power. Mr. Jean-Claude Juncker, the voting people, public, have already spoken. See side note of Brexit. See additional side note. You know the little stars, like a little star next to something? What does that mean? Oh, down at the bottom, fine print that I can't even read. Little side note. Well, this one has two side notes. Make that three. First side note, Brexit. See Brexit for how the citizens voted. Side note 2, Le Pen taking the lead. She's going to win the French presidency. Side note 3, as I mentioned earlier, Greece. They're finished. They're dying to get out of there. And I'll add additional side note 4, because there's so many. As I just mentioned, the Scottish. We're going to have another referendum about this whole EU thing. Mr. Juncker, they have already spoken, so shut your mouth. Thanks. His outburst came at the end of a grueling hour and 15-minute debate on the EU Commission's highly publicized white paper, during which MEPs repeatedly called on Mr. Juncker to voice his personal opinions. Eurocrats have outlined 5 pathways they believe the EU can take post-Brexit. So again, post-Brexit. If this wasn't post-Brexit, in other words, never happened, United Kingdom still involved in the EU bloc, they wouldn't have this discussion. There'd be no problems. There would be no thing about the EU talking. What are we going to do about it? But hold on. But you guys said, you elitists, you economists, you special, high-level people, we listen to on TV and tell us everything. Everything to think. You said this will be a non-issue. Yeah, they voted for it. It's going to be a non-issue. We'll be fine with that. No big deal. And then I read you about a month ago, EU says Britain's going to owe them, $50-60 billion, some ridiculously high number, in order to leave. They're going to owe us a huge, enormous amount of money. Why do you need it? You said you were going to be fine without it. You don't need them. Now you're saying you need 50-60 billion or whatever the number was. It was a very high number. And now they're saying, well, the EU's in trouble, and what are we going to do about post-Brexit? And they don't have a solution. Shit, what do you want us to do? What I want you to do, go away. Just get rid of yourselves now. Each country, go back to your own currency. Have a nice day. Eurocrats have outlined 5 pathways they believe the EU can take post-Brexit, ranging from reverting back to a single trading bloc, right through to the establishment of a full-blown United States of Europe. And while Mr. Juncker dismissed the first of those 2 options, saying the EU is more than a free trade area, he has refused to be drawn on what he thinks of the other 4, saying that he does not want to prejudge the public debate. The Brussels chief said he wants discussions on the future of the bloc to take place across the continent at national and regional level, adding that the Commission would listen carefully before publishing its response. Oh, you would listen? Kind of like our politicians listen to us? They'll listen to you. A town hall meeting? Hey, yeah, I hear your concern. Thank you for telling me that. And as soon as I leave here, I'm not going to do anything. Remember the town halls? The entire country. Do not do Obamacare. It's 2,000 pages or whatever. We know how anybody has read this thing. What we have read, we do not like. Do not vote for this. And remember the old man congressman? And, haven't you read it? Don't you know what's in this thing? No, I haven't read it. The thing's 2,000 pages long. Oh, my God, the crowd flipped out. I will never forget that video. The crowd flipped out when he said that. And he just stood back. Almost like, why are they so angry? Why are they screaming now? Like he didn't even understand why or how. What? It's normal not to read legislation that you vote on, apparently, at all. He told a sitting of the European Parliament in Brussels yesterday that he was not a dictator and that the time when bureaucrats would or could simply issue lofty decrees on hugely important political decisions was over. Mr. Juncker pointed out that Brussels had been repeatedly criticized for pressing ahead with sweeping reforms without consulting the public, and that given the project's popularity crisis, the time had come for a new approach. So we're going to make our decisions, but this time we'll at least listen to the public. We'll take your input and throw it out the door and continue on with our, what was the word? We'll put in sweeping reforms without consulting the public. We'll change to, we will do sweeping reforms with consulting with the public. And we don't care what they say. But we'll listen. Kind of like Obama. We're going to put, before we pass any legislation, it will be on the White House for debate for the public to see. Nobody wanted Obamacare. No, nobody likes that. National Defense Authorization Act 2013 one especially. Oh, we didn't like that one. No. Oh, they already passed it. Didn't that? What about the White House? We got to see it for a few days. No? Okay. But some MEPs were amazingly left unsatisfied by the listening exercise, saying that as EU boss, he does not need to ask for voters for their opinions and instead should express a preference on which path to follow and actively press ahead with it. But that's what they've been doing. And that's why people are mad in these countries. And that's why Brexit took place. And that's why Miss Le Pen of France is taking over. And that's why they're having another referendum in Scotland. And that's why Greece is dying to get out of the EU. And that's why Italy is next in line, or at least next few people in line, so to speak. For many, especially those in left-wing parties, this would ideally be one of the two options presented in the white paper advocating more integration, which would lead to the bloc ever closer to becoming an effective superstate. Exactly. After listening to their rambling speeches, a thunderous-looking Mr. Juncker replied, "What I will say to those who think that the Commission has chosen poorly is that in Europe you can't have enough innovation. There are many traditionalists, many conservatives who cannot accept changing a method, and my method has been criticized. The approach of making a number of proposals which have had thought put into them, but which have never been discussed with the broader public. That has been the approach that has been criticized." You're just trying to sound good all of a sudden? So you're trying to sound good for the public to say, oh yeah, I like this guy now. But the parliament members of the different countries are saying, no, we kind of like, the club and us making rules without input of our citizens. We don't have to deal with that crap. But he realizes the citizens are tired of that crap. So maybe we should consult them, even though it doesn't matter. We'll still pass our laws and edicts and whatnot the way we want to. And he can't win. Shit, what else can we do? Nothing. Our boat has just capsized, Captain. What do we do? Nothing. Do you have lifeboats? No. Oh, I was hoping you'd at least say yes. See, their lifeboat in the EU is, well, we still have some countries left. It's only Brexit. But they can see it. They know. The EU has been purchasing all this debt-backed crap from all these countries over there. Tens of billions of dollars, like every month. It's like quantitative easing, but buying back. Remember when Federal Reserve bought all the mortgages, $80 billion a month, then it turned to $20 more billion on top of that. It was like $100 billion a month for like a year and a half, 2 years or something. And I'm like, man, 80, 2 years. Whoa, it's a lot of money. We're done now. We're done with the purchases. Oh, but the EU's in full-blown go mode. Again, debt super cycle. This is about a debt super cycle. I wish the EU luck. Matter of fact, I don't. I'm lying to you. Even if I did, it doesn't matter. It's done. It's over. The EU is finished. Just a little matter of time. Take care.